support that we got over the 3 days of the draft. Let's go to the AFC North now.
Okay.
The AFC North, Cincinnati Bengals, they were at the top of the draft, and they did what we all knew they were going to do. The fifth pick overall was Jamar Chase, the wide receiver out of LSU, instead of being Penei Sewell, the generational left tackle that we all believe him to be. However, I will say I'll knock them hard for not making that pick at 5, but I think they did okay at the rest of the draft to make up for it.
Well, they drafted a kicker in the 5th round.
And I'm fine with that.
That's fine.
That was the one draftable kicker I had.
He's a good kicker.
That's the one draftable kicker I had. Here's my question. And I feel like I've said this so many times that I could scream. Which would have been better? You take Penei Sewell at 5. You have the world is your oyster in the 2nd round. Mm-hmm. You could have had De'Ami Brown in the 3rd round. Mm-hmm. You're telling me that you would rather have Jamar Chase and Jackson Carman than Penei Sewell and De'Ami Brown? Because if that's true, that's fine, and you're totally entitled to your opinion. It's wrong, it's dumb as fuck, but you're entitled to it. You can think that all you want to. You have basically, you have tied the hopes and dreams of your franchise. You have pinned it on Riley Reif and Jonah Williams. Mm-hmm. Jonah Williams, who cannot stay healthy, ever, and Riley Reif, who the Minnesota Vikings looked at and went, we're good. That's what you're pinning Joe Burrow's hopes on. Look at that big-ass scar on his knee and just stare at it. I want you to stare at it about 10 seconds and tell me, yeah, Jamar Chase was the right call. Because here's the thing. If he doesn't have any time to throw, I don't give a fuck how good Jamar Chase is deep. And he's not gonna. And then the thing that you compounded it to me by taking Jackson Carman, who's a developmental guy at best. Mm-hmm. I think he's a guard, which that's what Bengals fans kept telling me they think they need. Yep. More power to you. All you Bengals fans that threw obscenity-laden shit at me in the comments, I'm not responding to another one of you. Here's what I'm going to say. All you got to do is watch and look. Yeah. Just watch and learn. Because you got exactly what you wanted. You wanted a guard. We're good with Riley Reif and Jonah Williams. That's fine. We'll put Joe Burrow behind that all day. Cool. Talk to me in week 9.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say. I am not saying another fucking word to Bengals fans. I'm not. You got what you wanted. So if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. If Joe Burrow comes out and throws for 5,000 yards and has all the time in the world, he won't. I'll admit that I was wrong. If not, and you've got Jamar Chase that can't get open because Joe Burrow's running like he's throwing this in the middle of the Santa Monica fucking freeway like I think it's going to be, now then you're going to have to admit I was right.
They went Jamar Chase, Jackson Carman. Then in the 3rd round and the first pick in the 4th round, they went back-to-back with edge rushers.
This is where they were starting to do
Yeah, I mean, and now Bengals fans, I don't just say all negative shit about you. You know, there's I can't remember the girl's name, but she comments every video we do with Bengals that I have some vendetta. Well, here you go. Let me say something nice about your team. From the 3rd round on, you did nothing wrong. Everything was good. I like Joseph Asai. I like Cameron Sample. Yep. I like Tyler Shelvin. I love Deontay Smith.
Yeah, that's a great
and I'm pretty well connected to that program. You know, I know the head coach.
Yeah.
Like real well.
Yeah.
There's a lot to like here. I love everything you did from the 3rd round on.
Yep.
The problem is that you pooped your pants in rounds 1 and 2. And now you have a quarterback that has one gigantic scar on his leg. And I got news for you. I see a very easy to read the tea leaves path that he has another one a year from now.
Yeah, Jeremy said.
And in the words of the almighty Forrest Gump, that's all I got to say about that.
Jeremy said he was going to sit here and say that he was wrong. I'm going to say that there's a 100% chance saying that he will never say that he was wrong.
Oh, I'll say if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If they prove me wrong, more power to them.
Yeah.
Here's where I struggle to believe that.
Yeah.
In a market that was bereft of left tackles.
Yeah.
You signed one that managed to get a menial 1-year deal, and that's the guy you're pinning the hopes of your franchise on. So you could take a receiver. First of all, that was not my number 1 receiver. Wasn't my number 2 receiver. He was my number 3. And he was not clearly over my number 4, who went with the 2nd pick in the 2nd round.
Just hating on Jamar Chase.
It's not hate. I like the talent. Do I think he's going to have problems in the NFL? You damn right I do.
Right.
Do I think you can? You took a receiver over a franchise left tackle. That's never going to stop being stupid, ever.
It immediately made Detroit's. When we talk about it tomorrow, I guarantee it's going to be an A. Because that pick and that pick alone.
Oh, Detroit's going to be.
And if Cincinnati would have taken Penny Sewell, we're talking about this as an A plus, as an A draft.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? If they would have switched the 2 picks, that's the thing. That's.
Yeah. Roy said drafting a kicker makes sense, seeing how they have trouble finding the red zone. I struggle to see how they're going to cross the 50 real often, so I'm not sure that kicker's going to get a lot of work. But if they do, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a pretty good kicker. It's
Yeah.
the only draftable kicker I had.
You get a guy with a big leg because you don't know how many times you're going to be down there in the red zone. You're going to have to be kicking lots of 50 and 60-yard field goals if you can't move the ball without that line opening up some holes for your running back. That's the thing. You look at the skill positions, and this team's really good.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for the first Bengals fan that tells me we're better with Jamar Chase and Jackson Cartman than we would have been with Penny Sewell and Elijah Moore, De'Ami Brown. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I understand Elijah Moore went ahead of the Bengals, but
which one?
Because that's not happening.
Oh no, no, that's gonna happen.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, there's no doubt somebody's gonna say it. And you know what I say to that? You're fake news. It's fake news.
Hopefully they can keep Joe Burrow healthy. Hopefully none of this comes to fruition here.
Oh, I don't want it to happen. Hell, I'd love to be wrong. I'm not, but I would love to be.
Missed a massive opportunity is the only thing. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing that dings the Cincinnati Bengals in their 2021 NFL draft. The Cleveland Browns.
Oh, boy.
The Cleveland Browns have had a hell of an offseason.
Oh, my God, dude.
They added a lot of talent in free agency, and then the draft rolled around, and they just kept parking it. Pick after pick after pick. It's one of my favorite hauls in the entire NFL draft. With the 26th pick overall, they took Greg Newsome II, the cornerback out of Northwestern, because in my belief, it was just he was the best guy on the board.
100%.
He was, and he filled a need.
Yeah, and I had him as my third-rate cornerback over Caleb Farley.
I did too.
I think he fits this scheme in Cleveland really, really, really well.
Yep.
They're just honestly the pick of the absolute draft, though.
Steal of the draft
was with a 20th pick in the second round. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who we had 100% first round grade. Unbelievable pick.
Yep.
And just the fact that Jeremy had to put an A- up on the Cleveland board is so funny, and I love it.
The minus should actually have Baker Mayfield's face on it.
That probably should have been it. Yeah, that's probably the only thing. And look, and Jeremy's just over there stewing in his own.
I don't want to say nice things about
I
the
know.
You have to, though.
I know I do.
Okay.
But since you both waxed poetic about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, that means I don't have to.
Yeah.
Which means that I can play devil's advocate and tell you why he fell. And the reason is because a lot of teams don't know what position he plays. There are a lot of teams that thought he has no role in the NFL because they don't know what position he plays. Mm-hmm. He's too small to be a linebacker, straight up. In a 3-4, he is not a fucking linebacker. Now, can they scheme this? I'm going to tell you something I had said to me over the weekend. I'd never thought of it, and it's kind of interesting to me. Do you know where there are people in the NFL? What position do you think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah plays in the NFL?
Outside linebacker.
You're drunk. In a 3-4, he'd get washed out like a.
I think he could be moved to safety.
Safety's a possibility.
Yeah.
Slot corner is what I got told by a scout that knows more that has forgotten more than I've ever known.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
this dude's been in the league for 30 years, and he said, "I think he's a slot corner."
Well,
I think he'd be real good at it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was the best ranked coverage for slot receivers in the entire college football at linebacker.
Yep.
So it would make sense to put him there. I mean, he's a really, really good player. The thing that the Anthony Schwartz thing to me was a little surprising because they are deep at wide receiver.
I'm just gonna straight up tell you this: the Anthony Schwartz thing is the reason this wasn't an A by itself.
Yeah,
because you took him too high.
Yeah.
Oh, he ran so fast. So he's fast. He's not a receiver.
With them drafting,
He's a track guy playing football. Now, is that a luxury pick that you can have? Yeah, but Baker Mayfield doesn't have the cannon to really use Anthony Schwartz to the best of his ability. So, and I never in a million years thought he was a third-round pick.
Is there anybody out there that, I've heard some things about that, the fact that they drafted Anthony Schwartz in the third round, that could possibly mean that Odell's somehow on his way out of here.
That's a dumb take because they have nothing to do with each other. Yeah. Anthony Schwartz is a slot-only receiver.
Okay.
If it should scare anybody, it'd be Jarvis Landry.
Okay.
But I don't think it has anything to do with that. He's a decent route runner. He just has really bad hands.
Yeah.
Like, really bad. And I know he screamed up the draft board because he ran so fast. I get it. Stephen Tao in the comments said that's why John Ross was a letdown. Anthony Schwartz could be John Ross 2.0 because they remind me of each other a lot. Now, Anthony Schwartz is a better route runner. I'm not sure John Ross didn't have better hands. I didn't love that pick, but they made up for it because they got Demetric Felton with like the 211th pick in this draft.
Yep, the utility player from UCLA, 211 overall in the 6th round. That's your best value for them.
That's one of my best values of the draft. That's a guy that I can tell you definitively there were teams all over. Now, why he went away, I don't know. Are there medical things? It seems like every player I've gotten a definitive answer on why they fell, it was something medical.
Right.
So, I don't know what it was. I didn't have a medical red flag on him, but, that's a tremendous pick. I like the Tony Fields pick from West Virginia in the 5th round. That's a guy that could play some special teams for them. And Richard LeCounte, he's not anything special athletically, but I think he can be a special teams guy in the NFL. Mm-hmm. The guy to watch out for is James Hudson.
Yep.
They got him with the 5th pick in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Played defensive end at Cincinnati and then converted himself to offensive tackle. And he is stupidly athletic, and he is raw as hell, and he could end up being a long-time player in this league.
I feel like that could be the best value pick in this draft just because we don't know what he can be. Still kind of learning the position. But all in all, the Cleveland Browns, no doubt, are a threat in the AFC. And I would not be surprised to see them get close to a Super Bowl, despite the fact that they have Baker Mayfield as their quarterback.
They got enough talent on this team, even with Baker's deficiencies, to make an absolute run at the Super Bowl without a doubt.
No doubt about it. Let's talk
about... before you move, somebody asked me in the comments, they also signed Marvin Wilson as an undrafted free agent.
That's pretty good.
That doesn't suck. That doesn't suck.
Not bad.
That's the biggest one. There's some other guys, but nobody that anybody specifically cares about.
Right. There were a lot of guys that I was kind of surprised did not get drafted, and there were a lot of teams that picked up some good talent.
Oh yeah, Stephen Tao asked if we can do the Ravens next. He's got a meeting at 10:30.
Okay.
I feel like Stephen Tao's been with us long enough that we can acquiesce that request.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens in this draft, Rashad Bateman, they didn't trade up. We thought that there was a possibility they might trade up to try and go get one of the top wide receivers in this draft, parlay the 2 picks that they had at the back end of the 1st round. That's not how it shook out, and I think they were better suited, actually, just to stay where they were. Mm-hmm. They are continually one of the teams that drafts the best out of any others in the NFL, and they knocked it out of the park with their 2 first-round picks. With Rashad Bateman and with Odafe Owa, formerly known as Jason Owa, I thought those were great picks there at the back end of the 1st round.
Well, here's the thing. People are going to say, we only got a B-. You were obviously a much better student than I was because I was always pretty happy with a B-.
Yeah.
A's are special. Jason Owa Odafe Owa scares the absolute heebie-jeebies out of me. Now, with that being said, there's probably not a team in the NFL that I like the chances of him reaching his potential better than Baltimore.
Yeah.
This is another one of those grades that could greatly fluctuate. Rashad Bateman's a very safe receiver. In terms of the on-field, I had no doubt about him. Now, now that the draft process is over, I can tell you what I heard about Rashad Bateman. He's a jackass. Like a raw, unadulterated, pure jackass. And so am I. So takes one to know one.
Shocker, wide receiver with attitude.
Yeah, and there were some teams that had some big concerns about his attitude and his character and all those things. Now, him going to Baltimore, that kind of mitigates the risk to me. because he's so good on the field. I have no doubt of how he translates. I think that will be fine. Oa scares me a little bit, and I think it's going to take some time. I really like the Ben Cleveland pick.
Oh, God, it was so
I
good.
think Ben Cleveland could end up being like Marshall Yanda and just be a starter in this league forever. The good thing is he goes to Baltimore, and he's going to have time to remake his body because he needs to hit weights aggressively because there's some bad weight on him. But the tape on him is tremendous, and I want you to think about it. He was that good in the SEC, carrying 20 pounds of bad weight.
Yeah.
That's rare. Usually guys that heavy in the SEC, the tape shows it because they're too slow.
Yeah.
They can't deal with a Christian Barmore. They can't deal with guys like that. He did. I like the Tylan Wallace pick in the 4th round.
Yep.
And I can't believe I'm about to say this out loud. I like the Shaun Wade pick.
Wow.
A player that I don't know that there's ever been a player that I've been more down on for longer than Shaun Wade. But you're telling me he goes to, baby, ask me in the comments. The order of teams is by division. So there's one more team left? We got one more team left in the AFC North. And we'll actually put in the comments who you asked me about, and we'll start with that team in your division.
Do Las Vegas.
Okay, so we got one more team that'll be the Raiders.
Yep.
If you want me to audible teams, feel free. We only have the AFC done. The NFC will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear a specific team, we will absolutely do it in that order.
Yep.
I really like what Baltimore did. And I know the B- is going to look like I'm down on it. I'm really not. This is what Baltimore does. They draft very, very, very well. And you took a lot of high upside guys. And you know why and you know why I like that so much? Because these high upside guys with Lamar Jackson, if you hit them, you're going to be really good, and it's going to cover up the deficiencies of Lamar Jackson.
My 2 favorite picks of the draft for the Ravens were definitely the Ben Cleveland and the Tylan Wallace. I thought they were high value at where they got them. Now you're looking at a wide receiver core of Rashad Bateman, Tylan Wallace, and Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Sammy Watkins
as well. Wow, that makes it even better.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I think Sammy Watkins is a really good, is underrated blocking wide receiver. I think he's going to do some things for them more than just in the passing game.
There will be zero excuses now for Lamar Jackson's throwing ability. He will have the full opportunity to prove himself as a thrower of the football. We know what he can do with his legs. We know that in the MVP year, he led the league in touchdown passes. This is an opportunity for him to put a lot of the doubters to rest with a wide receiver core that is vastly improved over what they had last year.
And I also think with that being said, they're basically saying here, we got the 5-year option, but you need to show us something this year if we're going to extend you, because there is reports out of Baltimore that they are on the fence.
Well, they should be. Well, and they should be, and they're way apart on money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is that's why Baltimore's been good for 19 of the last 20 years.
Yeah.
They don't overpay just because of what people want them to do. If they don't think Lamar Jackson can win them a Super Bowl, he's not going to be a Baltimore Raven. Now, do I think that ultimately they get it done? I do. Because you don't let quarterbacks like that walk out the door. But what you do is build a team around them, which is exactly what Baltimore has done, and I applaud them for it.
Yep.
We are live in the Wicked Weed studio, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different. Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, Brian Haynes, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're bringing Big Ben back. They're just trying one more push here. And I was getting ready to say I would be surprised if Jeremy's grade is any higher than a C-, and he went with the D+. Obviously, they took a running back in the first round of the draft with Najee Harris out of Alabama, which is going to knock them down on Jeremy's grade list. I don't mind the pick. You're known for running the football. Get the running back that you believe is the best one in this class, and I think that's exactly what the front office did.
He fits the scheme, no doubt. I just don't like taking running backs in the first round. It almost invariably never goes well. Because, and the theory is very simple. It's not that I don't like running backs. It's that you don't have them as long as you have everybody else. You take all right, so they needed a left tackle. I don't necessarily think Tevin Jenkins is a left tackle, but let's say they take him. Tevin Jenkins, if you hit on him, is your left tackle for the next 10 years. Najee Harris, if you're lucky, you'll get 6 years out of him. Lucky. And that's why I don't take running backs that high. I like taking running backs in day 3 because you can find valuable guys that late. I don't think Pittsburgh had to take him that high. That being said, they had to have a running back. So I get that. That's really not the pick I'm dinging them on the most. I don't understand the Pat Freiermuth thing at all.
Really?
I do not get it at all. So
Even though you listed that as your best pick.
yeah, that should kind of tell you how I feel about the rest of it. Because I'll be honest with you, Quincy Roche was the best value.
Yeah, 100%.
Quincy Roche was my best
In
pick for this
6th
team.
round.
I tried to put 3 different players on the graphic because I'm going to level with you. I could have put Roche on the top line and the bottom line and been just fine. Stephen Tow's brother, Clint, very good friend of mine, is a huge Steelers fan. And when he asked me about it, he called him Baby Gronk and all this other shit. And I asked him how he felt about it. And he said, well, Eric Ebron's a big old pussy. Well, Pat Freiermuth can't block any better than Eric Ebron can. He can't. That's a myth. I don't know where the fuck it's come from. I've watched tape on Pat Freiermuth till blood came out of my ears trying to figure out where is it that you're talking about him being such a good blocker. He's an average to decent blocker. He's Mike Gesicki 2.0. I think he's more baby Gesicki than he is baby Gronk. Now, he's a really good receiver, but you had a lot of those. Who in the shit is going to play left tackle for this team? I mean, is it Dan Moore that you took in the 4th round? Because I think he's a guard, just being really honest with you. We were supposed to have his high school coach on our draft coverage, but we couldn't make the video work. I was very excited about that.
Yep.
Yeah, it seemed like I kept screaming, like, when are they going to address the offensive line? When are they and they did with back-to-back picks. I just didn't think that those picks were they're okay picks. I just don't know if these guys are day 1 starters. I think they can fill a role for this team, but I don't know if this necessarily helps out that offensive line. If you want to get back to power running Pittsburgh Steelers football, these aren't the picks that you needed. Not to mention, how long before Ben's arm falls off?
Well, here's the thing. My knock on the Steelers is I'm a very blunt person. If you're new to this show, you're going to figure that out pretty quick. I'm blunt as hell. You have 1 year left at Ben before his arm falls off.
Yep.
And now you've put him behind an offensive line that I don't know how you're going to build it. I like the Kendrick Greene pick. I like the Dan Moore pick. I don't know who your tackles are going to be. I don't. I mean, if you think you can play Dan Moore at left tackle, more power to you. We'll see how it goes. I don't think it's going to be great. That's why you're getting dinged here. I don't really hate any of these players. I don't understand the fit with Freiermuth. Unless Ebron's not going to be on this team, or he's not going to be on this team in a year, then yeah, that's your tight end in the future. And he can be a starting tight end in the NFL. I get that. You took 2 non-premier position players to start this draft, and I'm not going to love that. I'm just never going to love that. I do think that helps Ben. It gives him some more weapons. I just don't know how long he's going to have, and you've got a brittle quarterback that's going to be behind a very new offensive line.
Yeah.
The biggest problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers is that they're doing this retread for 1 more year with Ben Roethlisberger. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens have gotten better, much better in their skill positions, and then the Cleveland Browns have just killed everything that they have done. So they're already 3rd best team in the league going into this year, and I don't know. It could be a race with the Cincinnati Bengals to be the worst team in this division.
No, I disagree with you vehemently on that. Something, LK Garcia, first of all, glad to have you. Second of all, he said they got Shakur Brown as an undrafted free agent. That needs to be said because Shakur Brown is one of my favorite corners in this class. And I can't believe he didn't get drafted. They also got, there was another one they had, Rico Busi from Hawaii. I really like that kid. That could be the next Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver and he's a year away from being a year away. But I really like. Pittsburgh is really good at finding talent. I don't have a problem with the talent on any of these players. There are a lot of Pittsburgh Steelery kind of guys. They're going to be lunch pail. You're not going to say their name very often, but they're going to do their job. My problem is I don't know what your line's going to look like. Sorry, I had to get that out before we move on.
Speaking of moving on, it is time to get into the AFC West. I'm Tank Spencer, Brian Haynes next to me here, and Jeremy Greene. We are the Sportsocracy. Check us out on all of the social medias. Be sure to hit that subscribe button as well and join us here live every weekday morning at 9-ish right here in the Wicked Weed studio. The AFC West will start